What's everyone? It is your girl Tiara, aka T, the Wine Diva, and I am super excited because I have a great old friend joining me today. His name is Jarreau Williams. He is an artist. He is a musician. He's amazing. And I want to kind of share a little bit of his story with you guys today and kind of talk about, the hustle and how you can really make your dreams come true if you put in the work. So, Drew, can you give a little bit of intro and tell kind of people what you do?
Hey, yeah. My name is Jarreau. I am from Alexandria, Virginia, living in the Washington D.C. area. I am a performer, entertainer, actor, singer. You name it. Pretty much that's what I'm doing full time now. And yeah, just we in this hustle, y'all. See when you're
Yeah,
doing a live stream with no pants. You know what I'm saying? That's how you just live life.
just
When
take
you
your
on
pants,
that day to day grind, you can do stuff like this and not have pants
right?
on. Business up front, party at the bottom. Let's go.
Yes. Oh my gosh. If people understood how many times I have a nice shirt on and some boxer briefs or something at the bottom and
Hey,
pray that nothing falls and I have to get up.
everybody knew they had that one interview for Google or Amazon, and they were like had the nice shirt on and the tie for Skype, and then had like some gym shorts on at the bottom because they were getting ready to go work out after the interview. Like, look, we putting out the secrets now. So that nothing is sacred anymore.
Telling everybody's secrets. I love it. I love it. So can we let's just go right into it. So I know I think it was on LinkedIn is when I first saw it. I was like, oh snap, yes, he made it, he's making it, yes. So there was a post and it was like, thank you for the full-time job, but you left it and you are now doing your performance full time. So can you talk a little bit about how you went from the 9 to 5 grind to making this happen?
Yeah. Well, yeah. First off, I just, I'm very fortunate to be in that situation because there's a lot of people out here who are working to get that same sort of um, situation in their lives. And
Mm-hmm.
I just want to let everybody out there know who's listening or may watch this later that it is possible. It's possible. You got to make some sacrifices. It's not necessarily a perfect setup. There's no set time as to when to do it. You just have to make a decision with yourself to say, I'm
Yeah.
doing this and I'm going to move forward in it and it's going to work out. Um, Now, I say all that to say, prior to me um, doing this full time, I had kind of been doing working 3, 4, 5 jobs, like whatever you could possibly do until my kind of reputation as an artist started to
Mm-hmm.
build. um and I was I'm working full time for Virginia Tech in Arlington, as a program planner, as a project manager and of sorts. So in a way um it also connected with what I was planning to do anyway. Yes, please make sure you spell my name correctly. I appreciate that. That'd be great. No,
I was like, why can't I type?
I'm just kidding. I was like, why is that changing? Okay, anyway, the powers of technology. But I had been doing that for a while, and while I was working full time, I was also, working to get my name out there for, gigs and, just getting in front of booking managers and people who were booking like festivals and even like joining wedding bands and things like that. So really just kind of focusing on my skill set and seeing how I could improve. And then once things started to come along more gradually, like I started to get opportunities where people were calling me rather than the other way around, which still it happens. Like, you still have to go out and work for it. It's not like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, people are calling me now, so I don't have to do any more work. No, 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 that's
Right.
not the case. So yeah, I had been doing that, and finally I came to a point where my performance schedule was getting so heavy,
Mm-hmm.
and so full, and I was able to save up enough money from those gigs, to just pocket everything away until I built up a nice cushion. Um, that I could walk away from my full time job. And of course, I had support from family and things like
Mhm.
that. So there's a lot of factors that come into play to making this dream a reality. But it definitely is possible. You just have to really like build up your rapport in wherever area you're working in, and it does take a lot of work that nobody's going to follow up with you on and say,
Mhm.
hey, what's the status of this? You can either make it go as fast or as slow as you want it to.
Yes. Yes. So can you like kind of set like the timeline? Like, how long have you been grinding this grind?
um, yeah, that's kind of crazy. So, I mean, in terms of performing, um, I mean, I've been performing for most of my life, probably since I was about probably like grade school.
Hmm.
But in terms of like really going full out, like this is what I want to do, this is where I want to be. I started doing that probably like around 2016,
Okay.
because that's when I decided I was like, hey, I want like my original music. I want to come out with an EP and get really serious about this, and put a band together and things like that. Um, and then like I had been continuing to work in my job until it's been over a year now. So I've been full time entertainment for a year. Yeah, it's kind of crazy when I still think about it. Just everything that I've gone through in that time frame, but I'm just so thankful that I'm able to do it.
That's beautiful. So when did you like find your love and passion for performing?
Um, man, like probably like when I was young, like really, really young, like 2 years old, probably. Like, and I know that's
Mhm.
like kind of crazy, like, because it seems like the cliche thing that everybody says, like, oh, when I was a baby, that's when I knew. Did you really? Like, you were still saying Goo Goo Gaga. How you really know? So no, but my parents would tell me like growing up that um what I consider to be the golden age of Disney. Like Little Mermaid, Aladdin,
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast, all that stuff. I used to put I used to watch the movies and then rewind it back immediately after watching it and play it over and over and over again. They said I would do that almost like 10 times in a row on any given day. And I would keep watching until I learned all the songs, I knew all the
Mhm.
lines and things like that. And then I had still done stuff all throughout grade school, but I think it really really wasn't until high school that I really said like, wow, I could really do something with this. And that was when um I'm sure are you familiar with the Cappies at all?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, so like for those who don't know, it's like the high school version of the Tonys essentially. And I had been nominated my senior year for supporting actor in a musical. And when that happened, to me that was kind of like a sign to say like, wow, okay, like I could do something with this.
Yeah.
But there was also that time where I kind of fell back on, like, there were the naysayers who were saying like, no, like that's not going to get you anywhere.
Hmm.
You need to have a plan B. It's just like you don't like when you see people who are making it, you don't tell them they need a plan B. Like you go out
Right.
and support them. So, and these are people that you don't even know, and that's the crazy thing about it. So, I would say like I've had that dream and that vision in my heart for a very long time, but it wasn't until a few years ago that I really had to put on that business hat, that CEO hat, and really get into like the nitty gritty of making this a full on profession rather than a hobby.
Love it. Oh my gosh. You're speaking words, so like because I can totally talk, like relate to the hearing people say like, no, 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 this isn't gonna do anything. Like but you gotta really, if you believe in your heart of hearts, if you know that this is what you're passionate about, this is where you need to go, then you got to do the grind. And is it going to happen overnight? No, it might take like 5, 10, 15 years. But if you're really willing to put in the work, go to school, get like hone your craft, all that good stuff, then you're gonna get there eventually, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, well, that's we've all heard about that, the 20-year overnight sensation, right? Or overnight, yeah.
Right,
Like
exactly.
we've seen plenty of that. Like I can pinpoint like think about somebody like Kevin Hart, right?
Hmm.
And we see how Kevin Hart in the past like 2 3 years he's like selling out stadiums and
Yes.
doing these extraordinary things with his craft and with his brand. But I remember when Kevin Hart was like a supporting role for In the Mix, like that when Usher had his movie, like you know what I'm saying, and nobody knew who Kevin Hart was back then.
Right.
So it's like that was like almost 15, 20 years ago when he was doing that
Hmm.
like that type of stuff. So Kevin Hart has like kind of always been there. But he's one of those guys where it's just like, hey, when it all comes together, it comes together. But there's so much work that goes behind it, and I've been constantly telling people because I think with social media and the power of social media, we only see everybody's successes. We don't really see too
Hmm.
many of people's failures, or do we track it long enough to really see how long it took somebody to get to that certain point? So it's just something we all have to remain mindful of is like no matter what profession you're in or what it is that you're trying to chase, that you just gotta keep your head down and just keep grinding, and don't get so easily discouraged. Those are things I have to tell myself constantly, um, because it does get tough at times. I mean, we see even the stars we look up to now talk about that. So yeah, it's just a matter of just being committed to the grind and being committed to believing in yourself that um, you wouldn't be on this journey if the possibility to succeed wasn't there.
Exactly. Exactly. So, um, what, where have you made that shift of like, I feel like there was a lot of acting back in college and now it's very music heavy. Where do you find that shift and do you prefer music over acting or is it just kind of what organically came to you?
Well, I still do both, so that's the cool thing about it. But I've always been a person to kind of approach things where, so when I first started, like what you alluded to, yeah, it was I was like very heavy on acting because I think also back then too, a lot of people didn't really know how they didn't know I could sing, or at least like
Mm-hmm.
to the magnitude that I am now. And I just kind of approached it as, okay, I know I have the possibility of walking through either one of these doors. So I'm going to keep pursuing both doors. I'm going to keep pursuing both paths. And then whichever door opens at that given time, that's the door I'm going to walk through. So
Okay. Yeah.
for a while, it was acting. I was doing like industrials, I was doing films, I was doing commercials, I was doing like all that type of stuff. And I had also done plays as well. Um, and then after that, music has always been there. It's one of those things that no matter whether I go left or right, music has always kind of found its way to weave itself back in my life. So that's how I kind of knew, okay, like this might be something I need to do. And I've always wanted to make music.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to record. That's like I love being in the studio. Like I love being in the studio and just working on stuff and trying to get things right. So yeah, it just became like after I got my equity card, um some things started to slow down a little bit acting
Mm-hmm.
wise, and I was getting like an industrial here and there, and I still, like I said, I still do some acting work, but not nearly as much as um, when I started doing music. And it really just started from me performing with people, meeting people, hopping up, doing a couple of songs on somebody's set when they would ask me. Not like I would just jump up there and do it. I'm not that person. Be like, all right, yeah, come on, hit it, 1 2 3. No, I'm not like that. So I, that's really how it started. And then once I, kind of fell back in love with it again, I just spent time like trying to see, like, okay, is this really something I want to do? So I really just like spent hours
Mhm.
in my dad's friend's studio and just like started to try to learn some things from him and started to put some things down. And then I came out with my first song, and then from there I was like, yeah, like God, I want to keep making music. Like I want to, make stuff that people are going to enjoy, and go from there. So yeah, it's really just a matter of, to sum it all up, it's really just a matter of everybody has more than one talent. Like it's not like you're just a musician or you're just an
Mhm.
actor. Like you're a compilation of many different things. So you want to keep walking those paths and try to dabble where you can. But if one door opens wider than the other one, then hey, that's your opportunity to go ahead and walk through that door. And then if you find the other door closes, I mean, okay, at least you tried it, you know. But yeah, but again, like that door can always stay open, and
Yeah,
be available to you. So yeah, that's just it's music has just been the door that has opened for me, and yeah, I'm just going with it.
that's beautiful. So for people that might not know the process, what is the process of getting your equity card?
Yeah, so there's a few ways to do it. Some people that I know have gone the EMC route, where it's kind of like a accumulation of points
Mhm.
from being in many shows, and I've seen that a lot of my friends have been very successful being on the EMC route. For me, it was very different. So one of my first jobs out of college was I worked at the Kennedy Center, and because I wanted to stay rooted, I wanted to stay connected to the
Mhm.
art. So I was like, even if I'm not in shows, I was like, let me at least be in that environment and work with shows so that I could, just see how people do it. And it was really cool because I was able to, see shows like Uncle Vanya, which had Kate Blanchett and Hugo Weaving, and
Mhm.
like Wicked, and like, it's like you didn't have to pay to be there or to see it. So, essentially
Yeah.
you're getting like a free experience and getting paid to enjoy great art. So, anyway, the show that I worked was Sheer Madness, which has been
Mhm.
the longest running show in American theater, which has been like over 30 years. Um, so I worked that show, and night after night, I was just watching, learning all the lines, learning like the transitions and things like that. But it was just innate in me to do. And then finally, I said, "Wow, I would really love to audition for this show."
Mhm.
So they have every spring they have a spring cast because of all the touring groups that come into the area. So I went in, I auditioned, I pretty much gave my resume, did a monologue, all that stuff, but I never once told them that I was a an usher. I never told them that because I wanted them to see me like any other actor that I walked through there. But I kind of had an advantage because I've seen the show hundreds of times. So
Right.
I kind of was already familiar with the flow. So, but anyway, like again, didn't tell them I was an usher. They brought me in for a callback. And then it was funny because the night of my audition, or the night of, the director stayed in town to see the show that night, and I happened to be working that night. And we're in a meeting, like all the ushers are meeting up, and I noticed like everybody is starting to look behind me, right? Like first we're all looking at each other like we're in a circle, but then everybody's looking behind me, and I'm like, what's everybody looking at? And I turn, and the director is right behind me, and he's like, I feel like such an asshole. I didn't know you were an usher. And I was like, well, I wanted you to look at me like any other actor. So I didn't, of course I wasn't gonna say anything. And
Right.
he could have decided right then, like, okay, I don't need to give you a call back. But they gave me a call back anyway.
Mhm.
Um they gave me like a part of the script of the show, which I had already known, so I knew it by heart. Pretty much like by the time they brought me in for the callback. Yeah, and then I was cast in the show, and I was in the show for like 8 months. And because it's a union show,
Mhm.
I pretty much was kind of like Taft Hartley'd in. So it was automatically like in order to be in the show, you had to join.
Right.
So that was just kind of my road to joining Equity, and it was like it was a fantastic experience. I'm still a member of Equity, even now. Um, just recently paid my dues. Um,
Yep.
no, but I'm just joking. But yeah, like so, paid my dues, and then yeah, there's multiple ways of doing it, similar to
Mhm.
joining SAG. So yeah, that's some people do it by points, and some do it because they're automatically. It's kind of like an auto join process because they're
Right.
casting a show that is union and they're non-union. So that was my experience.
And then, who've been like your mentors throughout this process?
To be honest, now if I sit up here and say I did this all by myself, I'd be lying. And anybody who says that is lying. Like we
Hmm.
don't like this is the thing I say about help. When you look at yourself as a person, right? How many people did it take to make you?
At least two.
Right. Look, you like maybe two and possibly like
If we're taking like
yeah.
grandparents in account, like there's a
Right. If
line of
we now
people.
we talking like full chromosomes, no. But and no, it took two people to make you, right? So if it
Hmm.
took two people to make you, that means it takes at least one other person to help you get to where you want to be. And I think a
Hmm.
lot of times people forget that. So I say all that to say that my mentors have it's really just been like just from watching people. It's not like I've had like an acting coach or
Hmm.
a vocal coach or a manager or an agent. I haven't had any of those things yet. I really was just it was just me being a student of the game, and really just looking around and just asking questions and not being afraid to admit what I don't know. And I think people in the industry have really helped me out, like just from people who are established, and I'm coming to them for help and for advice, and they're willing to give it.
Hmm.
Because at the end of the day, I know like some people say like they don't tell all their secrets and stuff like that, but it's not so much of what you tell, it's what somebody does with what you tell. I think that's the biggest thing that I draw from that. So um I, I mean, like I've had a huge support system, but my main like mentors, I would say, have really just been like just being a student of the craft, and just 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 trying to find it and find out.
Hmm. I think you said something very profound there because, like, you know, you can listen. Excuse me. You can have mentors, you can have all these people, you can take all these classes, but if you're not putting forth any sort of like action on your own end, if you're not, okay, this is what I want to be, this is who I want to emulate, and then you're not, and then you don't do anything that they're doing, like taking what someone else does and trying to make it your own, and like, eating it, shitting it out your own shit, you know what I'm talking about.
Okay, Bob McGee, I see you.
I
Shout out
say
to
this
Bob McGrath. Shout out to Bob McGrath.
so that's like one of my
I did. Funny thing is, I did use that quote with somebody the other day. Um, there was a few like musician friends and myself. We were
Mhm.
on a boat actually. Like and we were just talking about like how to grow in the music game and how we notice the trends of music. And I actually used that same line that you're talking about. And I was like, man, I swear, I was like, that's one of those lines that just never leave you.
It never. I swear I say it probably like once every couple months to somebody, and I'm like, dang. All right, Bob, you're there. You
Yeah,
stuck.
right, right. Just
Oh my
never
gosh,
leaves. It just
just
never
never
leaves.
leaves. I think I had one more question. I don't even know where I wrote it down. Lottie beans. Oh, so what are you working on right now?
Well, I just came out with a new single. It's called "Shoulda Known Better." This was like a very different song than what I'm used to making because it has like a very EDM, R&B type feel
Ooh.
to it. Um, and so, the goal right now is I want to I'm planning to go back in the studio in the next couple months or so, to finish songs for an album that I want to put out, because I just, I kept thinking, like, what do I want to do next? Um, and for me, like, an album was the next thing, because my thing is, for me to grow as an artist, I want to be able to have music that everybody can get excited about, and also that I can also pitch to venues, so
Mhm.
that I can be an opener for somebody or even headline my own show, which I've been fortunate enough to be able to do already, but not to the magnitude that I really want.
Mhm.
Because I, like, it's mainly like a couple of my songs, and then mainly like a lot of covers, or
Right.
doing like the whole like bar scene or festival scene. But I really want to have more music that is like genuine and just me, and it's, represents who I am as a person and just as a musician and as an artist. So yeah, that's really what I'm doing now. And then, still hitting the wedding scene, the wedding circuit. Whether it's through an agency band that I'm in or my own group, we play weddings too. Um, so yeah, just, focusing on that, and then yeah, just, just really just trying to focus more on getting the same amount of rest as I do work, because I think a lot of
Mm.
people take that for granted. Um, because I had to overcome like my own health challenges in the past like couple of years, and I think that's really what put this whole career in perspective for me. Um, because look, I'm just being real with everybody. Um, Nothing is stable. Nothing.
So true.
You have to approach everything like that. Just because you work at a 9 to 5 doesn't mean, oh, this is steady and I'm good. No, because that's when you lose. That's when you lose passion, and then
Mhm.
also, I've learned from experience. I've been laid off from a 9 to 5 job before. So it's like nothing is set in stone. Nothing is for
Yeah.
certain. Like, you still have to go out and chase something. Now, if your goal is to ascend in that job that you're in, great. By all means, like, go do it and go ascend and get the, the credentials you want. But yeah, I've just come to learn that, health is key. And just knowing that, hey, like, I'll give you a prime example. Like, these past couple of days, I have not really done anything. I mean, I've been, rooting on the Nats, and, that's
Yeah.
great and all that. But there is something sacred about being able to get a good amount of rest and refresh and
Mhm.
refocus your mind. So saying all that to say, what am I doing right now? That's what I was saying. I'm in my house with no pants on. Um,
There you go.
I mean, that's
But
just kind of
yeah.
what it is. But no, it's because, like I said, I mean, there's gonna when you're working, and you're just constantly grinding and
Mhm.
planning and all that stuff. So it's really important for everybody who's out there to really get as much rest as you do work, because you need to be fresh. You need to be like ready to go in order to do your job to the best of your ability, or whatever it is that you want to do, and just
Exactly.
pursuing your
Yeah.
goals. So yeah, just take advantage of it, and take advantage of it, and then, hey, when you feel that you got that energy back and you're ready to go ahead and get back to the grind, get back on it.
Go for it. Love it. But get
Yeah.
back. Don't just leave.
Right.
So for
Exactly.
for anyone that like wants to follow you and check out all the stuff that you got going on, where can they find you?
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram at I am Jarreau Williams. So Jarreau, Jarreau. You can find me there. I post a lot of stuff on Instagram.
Mhm.
Also, I have a Facebook page for my band. It's JWX, the Jarreau Williams Experience. That's kind of like the band moniker that we go by when I'm out and about. We have a Facebook page there. You can see all of our upcoming dates, especially if you're in the DC area, and hopefully 2020 will, oh yes, there you go with the whole handle. Yes, do that. Yes, technology come through. Um, you can also see all of our dates there. Also, I'm on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, all those places where you can listen to my original music.
Mhm.
And I also list my show dates on there as well. So
Awesome.
yeah, just feel free to come out to a show, come out live, hear the live sound, and say hey, and yeah, and go from there. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So, is there any like final words that you want to leave people with and the audience with, inspiration, anything like that?
Oh, there's just so much I want to say. No, I'm just kidding. Most people are like, "Shut up, don't talk." No, the main thing I want to say is something that I always follow by that I believe has gotten me to where I am today, and that's just make the intentions of your heart known. That's just that's a quote, a mantra that I constantly live by, because how are you going to reach where you want to go in life if nobody knows about it?
Mhm.
So I always say, like, whatever your heart's intentions are, write them down, speak them out, and tell people about it. Because for all you know, somebody may know someone that can link you up to a specific situation, or even just connecting you with somebody that you may end up working with for a long time. You just never know. So um, you know, don't be afraid to ask for help. I think that's huge. And then last but not least, just take care of yourself. Try to try to get out and do things. Love life. You only love it by living. Can't really do it from the bed as much as we like
Mhm.
napping and sleeping.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Um, yeah, you just gotta get out and live it. So yeah, that's my primary thing. Make the intentions of your heart known. That's so you can get the best you want out of life.
Love it. Thank you so much for joining me
You're
today. It was
so
amazing.
welcome. It was such a pleasure.
It
I'm
was
so glad to be here.
amazing. Oh my god.
Everybody's gonna be like, "Who? What?" Anyway, no, thank you again for having me. And like I said, I wish nothing but the best for everybody that's out there listening to this or watching this. And yeah, go get
All
it.
right. Get it. Thank you all for watching. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Peace.